It is Thursday morning. We're so happy to be with you this morning. I am so fired up this morning, guys. As you're coming in, go ahead and share this out. This is going to be powerful. Are you vulnerable with the wrong people? Good morning, Shannon. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead, share this out. And if you share it out, put shared so we can give you a shout out this morning. To all our first time viewers, if you've ever seen us for the very first time, make sure you put new in the comments so we can give you a shout out, reach out to you personally today. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Natasha Paris. I'm the mother of these beautiful lovelies. When people see us, they're like, those are your sisters? No, they're my daughters, Alexis and Natasha. So I'm also a family life coach. Hey, Lucinda, good morning.
Good morning.
A wife and a lover of his presence. I am so happy to be with you this morning to bring you this powerful message called Are You Vulnerable with the Wrong People? Go ahead, Alexis.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Alexis Paris. I'm 20 years old. I'm the CEO of Anomalies at Work. I'm a personal development speaker and dancer as well. Thank you for sharing, Lucinda and Shannon and Miss Satara. We appreciate it. Go ahead, Tata.
My name is Natasha. I'm 14 years old. I'm an inspiring speaker, an aspiring author, and a freshman in high school.
Good morning. Good morning,
Portia.
Portia. All right, guys, we're going to get right into this message this morning. So this morning, we're talking about, are you vulnerable with the wrong people? That's what we're talking about this morning. So I have to share this story with you, okay? And this story is coming out my favorite personal development book, which is the Bible. And this is where I get all my keys, guys. This is where I get all my nuggets to raise my kids, how to be a wife, how to treat other people, how to love, how to live. I get it from this book. It is, and I think all the other personal development books that we love so much stems from this book right here. So we're going to share a powerful story with you about Samson and Delilah. And we pulled out of 3 nuggets today. I don't know who this is for. We never know who this is for. We just share this out. And the message that we get throughout the day, you know, people will reach out to us probably say, you know what, that message was for me. So I don't know if it's for you. We always do this for the audience of one. We're praying and hoping that it reach at least one person to bless them and encourage them along their day today. All right, so this is a story. I'm going to set it up for you. So are you ready?
Ready.
Say, I'm ready.
Ready.
So here we are. We're talking about Samson and Delilah. Now, the children of Israel have been disobedient again, all right? And God had them under the hands of the Philistines, all right? So here it is now. God has decided with his grace and his mercy. He said, you know what? I am going to deliver the people of Israel out of the hands of the people of the Philistines. And he said, I'm going to raise a leader. So he sends an angel of God to the mother, and he says, you know what, you've been barren, I'm going to allow you to bear a child. And during your pregnancy, I do not want you to eat anything unclean, and I don't want you to drink wine, because I'm going to put something in your belly. So how can you relate to this? Relate to this as before you were placed in your mother's belly, God gave you an assignment. All of us have an assignment, like a specific assignment. And Samson had a specific assignment to the point to where his mother came to him and said, you know what? This man is going to deliver my people out of the hands of the Philistines. I don't want you to drink any wine, and I want you to eat clean. And she was like, okay. So we fast forward to the story. If you want to read this story, it's in the book of Judges. I think it starts in Judges chapter 14. And so here it is now. She gives birth to this her son, and she names him Samson, and she has specific instructions not to cut his hair because that's where his strength lies. Not a lot of people know the secret. Here's a point right here, okay? Not everybody needs to know your secrets, all right? So here it is now. Samson has this great strength. He's killing a lot of the Philistines, and people are seeing him, and the Philistines are like, oh my gosh, like, how is this man so strong? Like, how does he have all this strength? We need to find out, where his strength lies. But can I tell you guys something? Samson had a weakness. Samson had an issue. Samson had some things he was dealing with, all right? And it was women. Yeah. Okay? Samson had his weakness, and he, one day he woke up and he said, Mom, Dad, I want that woman over there. I want one of those Philistines women. And his parents were like, come on, Samson. Come on, look in this camp. Look at all these beautiful Israelites God has given you. You see all these beautiful, look at that beautiful Israelite right here. Why don't you pick out one of these Israelites? He's like, no, Mom. Right? Like the flesh does. I don't want that. I want that bad stuff. I want that over there is appealing to me. And that's what Samson did. Samson wanted something that he could not have. All right? Right. So he went against his parents, and he went with Philistine's woman. But that wasn't enough. So he got over her. And then one day he falls in love with a prostitute. The Bible calls her a harlot, but we know them as a prostitute. And her name was Delilah. And here it is again. Samson, his weakness. He falls in love with the wrong person. Not only does he fall in love with her, guys, he marries her. He put a ring on it. All right, he put a ring on it. Now, as disobedient as this man is, but what? God still love him. God still is using him. Anybody? Anybody? And can you put a 1 if that's you? Like, you know you're wrong. Like, you've done some wrong things, but in the midst of it, right? God is still using you. God is still allowing you to operate in your gifts, even though you're not living the way you're supposed to, right? And this is why I think he does that. Because it's all about his reputation. Like, he wants to, there's a purpose in your life that he wants to accomplish. Like, he literally... Shannon, me too, honey. You could have did a couple of sets of those for me. You know, he literally has something that he wants to get accomplished, and he's going to use you, right? He wants to make sure that the gift that's within you is being used. So with all his love, with all his grace, he's still using Samson.
Yeah.
And so a group of Philistine soldiers, you guys, this story is so good. A group of Philistine soldiers gets to Samson. Pull it up on here, or the live.
Yeah.
Goes to Delilah and says, Delilah, come on. We need to figure out where his strength lies. We're going to give you, what is the number? We're going to give you 1,100 pieces of silver. All of us are going to give you 1,100 pieces of silver if you tell us where this man's strength lies, right? What does this story remind you of? It kind of reminds you of the story of Jesus, how Judas, right, betrayed Jesus for silver, right? So here it is now. Delilah says, of course, she didn't marry Samson for the right reason. I mean, she found him, in a desperate place of her life. That's a whole different message. We could even talk about that. That's a whole different other day. So here it is. She says, of course I would do it. So she goes to Samson. She says, Samson, hi, honey. Could you tell me, how are you so strong? Can you tell me where your strength lies? And he says, okay, yes. He says, if you take 7 green bowstrings, and if you wrap it around my wrist, I will have the strength of any regular man. And he says, okay. She says she's so excited, so she calls the guards and she says, this is where his strength lies. And of course, they try it. It doesn't work. And she goes to Sam. She's like, honey, like, why did you lie to me? Like, why? Like, don't you love me? I need to know where your strength lies. And Samson was special.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody would have did that to me, I'd be like, why are you asking me my business? But he's in love, you know what I'm saying? Like, women, we got some stuff in us that we can, like, make men do crazy stuff, right? So she does, right? She puts it on him, whatever she does, right? So she goes to him, she said, come on, honey, tell me again, just tell me the truth. Where does your strength lie? He says, okay. He said, if you take new ropes that has never been occupied and you tie them around my wrist, I will have the same strength of any other man. She says, okay, all right, thanks, honey. Right? She goes, and she tells the soldiers, and the soldiers are like, okay, let's try it. They tried it. It didn't work. And she goes to him, and she says...
This is the hair the second time, right? Around the hair the second time, or the wrist again?
Yeah, the wrist again.
Okay.
And then she goes to him. She says, why have you lied to me? She says, you're hurting me. She says, okay, fine. If you take a weave with 7 and wrap it around my hair 7 times, that is where my strength lies. And she says, okay. She goes to him, and again... he has lied to her again. And she's like, come on, Samson. Like, this is for us. You hurting me like this. Don't you love me? This is what she said to him. She said, guys, anybody has been through that? Has anybody been through that?
Pull the love card.
But yeah, pull the love card. Don't you love me, Samson? Am I not your wife? I need to know the truth. Tell me the truth, Samson. I really want to know where your strength lies. And the Bible says that this woman nagged this man to a point of death. And so he said, you know what? I'm going to tell you the truth. This is the truth. The truth is, ever since I was born, God made a vow with my mom, and she told my mom not to ever cut my hair. And if my hair is cut, if a razor touches my head and cuts my hair, I will not have strength. And she says... okay, thank you, Samson. Thank you, Samson. Oh, she's so trifling. Do you guys know any trifling people like that? They're just not there for your good. Like, they're literally in your life to use you, you know? And here's a side note for women that are married or women that are about to get married. Be careful who you marry. Okay? Because you can marry the wrong person and it literally ruins your whole entire life. And Samson married the wrong person.
Right.
Like it literally cost him his life.
Yeah.
Okay? So this thing about marriage, don't take it so lightly. Don't marry somebody because they're cute. Because that's probably what he saw. He saw the outer appearance of Delilah. But he didn't see the inner appearance of Delilah. Right? Be careful who you say I do to. Because it could be a nightmare or it could be a dream. All right? Just like that. And it was a nightmare for Samson. So here it is now. Samson, now she says, come on. She probably put it on him that night. Right? Now she's so trifling, right? She lays him on his lap. She's stroking his hair. She takes the, hey Chelsea, she takes the scissors and she cuts his locks, the Bible says. And then when he wakes up, that's right, background checks, you better get your life on some background checks before you say I do. So Delilah, as trifling as she is, she waits till this man goes to sleep. And that's why when I was doing my son's hair last night, and I was thinking about, my God, like I pray over my son. Like not only do I pray over his hair, but I pray over his body parts. And I'm dead serious about that. Because I understand one female in my son's life can literally ruin his life. So as I'm combing my son's hair last night and braiding his hair, and I'm thinking about, as Samson would just like stroke, as Delilah would stroke Samson's hair. And she's putting him to sleep and she's cutting. How many people in your lives right now just pretend like they're your friend, right? They're in your house. They're in your home. They're around your husband. Come on, somebody. They're around your kids, but they mean you no good. They mean you no good. So she cuts his hair and he wakes up. His strength is gone. His strength is gone. All right? And of course, the Bible says the Philistines come in. They gouges out his eyeballs. So now he's blind. His strength is gone. And now we're going to go into these 3 points because the third point, I want to leave it for the end of this. I want you to stay to the end. So we're going to talk about 3 points that we pulled out of this story that you can relate to your life today. I don't know who this message is for, but if it's not for you, push that share button because it might be for somebody else.
Right.
All right? So let's go. The first one. We all have weaknesses. Right. Okay? We all have weaknesses. I can tell you right now, I don't care who you are, from the pulpit to the door. Pastor, bishops, I don't care if you a woman of God. I don't care if you're the president of the United States. I don't care who you are. Everybody has a weakness. Right. Everyone. Everybody has problems. Everybody going through a situation. I don't care how perfect the family looks. We have problems. Yeah. We go through things. Come on. How many people cried this week? Say me. Right. If you cried this week, put a 1 in the chat. Right. Like literally, if you shed a tear between last week or this week, the last 7 days, if you shed a tear, put a 1. Right. This is life. Like, this is real. Like, we're living life. Like, everybody has problems. You see people and you're like, oh my gosh, they got it all together. No, they don't. Right. They have problems. They have issues. They're dealing with something. Right. Okay?
I cried 1.
Yeah, I cried this week. I cried several times. The kids drove me nuts this week. What day was it? Like, I literally went in my room and fell down to my knees. I said, God, these kids are driving me crazy. It's spring break week and they're all home, And it's like I got so frustrated and I got so like angry. And I'm like, God, I need you. You know what I mean? So understand that. You see us here, you see people on TV, you see people have problems. People have issues. Yes, me too. Girl, I was on my knees. Look, it was so bad. Let's be real. It was so bad. I walked in my room, I just laid on the floor. I didn't even make it to the bed. Usually, like, I'll get to the bed, not that day. I think it was Monday. I just laid on the floor and I was just bawling. And AJ walks in my room. He's so trifling. He walked in my room. He see me crying. He went and got his Batman and walked out the door. And I'm like, son, you don't see mommy down here crying? I'm here crying. I'm hurting. So this is the point. The point is, guys, everybody's going through something. Everybody's hurting. Everybody cries. Everybody, has issues. And Samson had an issue. He had great gifts. Like, literally, God called him before he was put in his mother's womb. He had a gift on his life, but he had issues. He had a lust issue. But God still used him. And God still can use you. Don't allow your mistakes, your weakness to keep you from doing what God has for you, okay? Yeah. So that's the first thing. You guys have anything to say? I've taken the whole thing.
They're like, okay. So we're just Okay, so like my mom said, yeah, we all have weaknesses, and it's kind of like, you know, Samson was very, very, very strong, right? Like that was his gift. His gift was strength. That's what God gave him to pursue, to carry out his calling, right? But within all of his strength, he had a really bad weakness that caused him to forfeit his life.
That's right.
You know? So it doesn't matter who you are. Never get in a place where, oh my goodness, nothing can touch me, nothing can break me, nothing, because we all have weaknesses.
That's right.
Like we all have things that if they're pushed to if that button is pushed, like we're going to be hurting.
That's right.
And so you have to understand, and not only understand that you have weaknesses, but be aware of them.
Right.
So you can keep tabs on them. Right. Like you understand, like, oh my goodness, this is a weakness of mine, so I'm gonna keep it controlled.
Right.
I'm not gonna let it be sabotaged by other people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's okay to have weaknesses, but don't let the weaknesses control your life. Don't let the weaknesses take away
That's
the
right.
calling that's on your life. Right.
Yeah.
Be aware of them, and then keep them on lock. Right. Make
That's right.
sure that other people aren't getting to them, that they're not sabotaging them, so that you can continue to do the things that you're called to do.
Yes. What she said was like, you know, what I was thinking about is like, work with your weakness. You know that it's there, be aware of it.
That's right.
You know, acknowledge it. Don't try to have a weakness and be like, oh yeah, I'm strong. You know, I don't have anything wrong with me. But in the back of your head, you know that you have a weakness. So
Right.
let's say like, for me, I think one of my weaknesses, like, that I have like an attachment to my things. Like,
Right.
you know, I like to keep my things like, you know, just very hidden away at the top of my closet. You know, the things that are important to me. So I have attachment to my things. And so the other day, my sister threw my shoe out of the window into the pond in our backyard, guys. And I snapped. Okay? That was my weakness. I went crazy on her. Like, it was a crazy night. Like, I was screaming, woke my mom up.
It was
It was a crazy night between me and my sister. And so, that was like my weakness. And I did not acknowledge it for the longest time. And it was kind of just like, you know, I like my things. It was just like, that's what it was, until that night that I knew, like, when she did that, when she, like, did that thing, it got to me so much to where, you know, I was like acting crazy. Like,
right.
I just like went out of character. Like, I was like
She did.
on her. Like, I was loud, guys. It was crazy. Okay?
We could do a whole live about that. The lessons
Right.
that we learned
It was intense.
through that situation.
Yeah, that situation was crazy. That's why I cried last week. But yes, I went to sleep downstairs. I was like, I would not sleep in the same room with her. Like, it was really bad. But but through that situation, I learned, you know, that, you know, you can't let people have control over you through your things. And
Right.
so, you know, it's just, you know, it's something that can be replaced. And I said a lot of crazy stuff. But you know, and through that, like, she got to me. And, you know, you can't have, you know, things in your life, you know, a weakness that, you know, you put you put in the back burner.
Right.
And, you know,
And
people
don't deal with it.
Yeah, and people know that's your weakness.
Right.
And you know that that's your weakness, and then people are able to, you know, use it against you.
Right, and that's
Okay?
exactly what they did with Samson. They knew his weakness was women. They knew his weakness was lust. They knew he had this thing for the Philistines women. So they set him up with Delilah. I believe they really set him up with Delilah. And they knew exactly what his weaknesses was. So basically, know your weakness. Satara says, acknowledge it. Yes, acknowledge it. Understand, say, you know what? And I had a weakness. Sorry, we had a call. You know, I struggle with a certain area of my life. I know what my weakness is, so I'm at guard. I'm on guard. So I know not to go here, not to go there, not to do this, not to do that, because I know what my weaknesses are. So know it that it's there. Know that we all have them. Acknowledge it and be on guard of it. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is, don't trust people you can't be vulnerable with. You know, there's certain people in your life you have to be vulnerable with people. Not everybody, okay?
Right.
Samson was vulnerable with the wrong person. Not only was he married the wrong person. From jump.
Right.
Like, you understand that you have to have people, okay? We're not saying don't be vulnerable. There are certain people you have to be vulnerable with.
Right.
2 or 3. Okay? Jesus had 3 people. Okay? James, Peter, and John. 3 people he could be vulnerable with. He didn't take, when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, he didn't say, come on, all the disciples come. He had 3 pray with him. So how many people in your life that you can call and be vulnerable with? Do you have a group of girlfriends? I'm telling you, don't let it be more than 3. You can't trust everybody. All right? Because in the point of your weakness, you should be able to pick up the phone or call somebody over or go to somebody's house and say, listen, this is what I'm going through. This is my weak area. And you should be able to just tell them, share with them, and they should be able to wrap their arms around you and say, sis, I got you.
Right.
I'm praying for you. They're not going to judge you. Say, girl, you struggling with that? Girl, haven't you been delivered yet?
Right.
No, I haven't. I'm still struggling. This is a weak area for me. You know, instead of them judging you, they can wrap their arms around you and say, you know what? I'm praying for you. I got you. It's going to be okay. Those are the type of people you can be vulnerable with. But a lot of us, we just want to just tell everybody everything. Right? We want to tell everybody everything, and then they'll be like, I knew it. Because let me tell you something about people. They're waiting for you to fall. Get your life on that. They're literally waiting. When is she going to fall? When is she going to break down? When is she going to give up? They're literally waiting. They're in your camp. You think they're for you, but they are not for you.
Right.
Okay?
And this is, I did a little teaching about this as well from the story in the Bible when Jesus was born and King Herod, and how he told the 3 wise men that he wanted to go worship Jesus too. So when you find Jesus, come tell me so that I can go worship him with you. Right? Like, I would have been like, okay, cool. Like, we're going to go worship Jesus together. Not knowing, like, good thing that God revealed to the wise men, like, hey, don't go back to King Herod. Because his intention was to kill Jesus.
That's right.
Right? So that's why you don't tell everyone, like, what's going on with you. You don't tell everyone what you're doing, what you find hope and joy in.
Right.
Because the very thing that you could find hope in, someone wants to destroy.
That's right.
Right? So you don't tell everyone everything. And that's something I have to work on as well, because I'm very, very open with people.
I have to work on that
I'm
too.
very transparent with people. So you kind of have to put a cap on that, because that could be detrimental to your life. Like, people, like, everyone is not for you, right? Even though it would be great if everyone was lovely, everyone was kind-hearted, everyone just wanted the best for you, but it's not true.
Right.
You know, it's not true. If it wasn't true, it wouldn't be in the Bible.
That's right.
Right? So you cannot trust everyone with everything that you tell them. You put a cap on that. And like my mom said, there's just a few, 2
or 3.
Or
2 or 3 are gathered.
Right.
You know, one thing that I got from that is, you know, people love drama. Okay,
Right.
people. That's why we have all these TV shows and all these things, because people love to see, you know, you fall. People want to see you cry. People want to see you, like, get loud and get crazy. That's what people want to see.
Right.
And so, you know, it's great. Like, some people love to watch it. It's great to watch. You know, it's fun to watch. You know, but it's not great when you're going through it.
Right.
And people are gonna sit there and laugh at you, and people are gonna sit there and, like, be like, oh my gosh, she's so crazy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that she's crying. I can't believe all this stuff. And people are gonna have all these thoughts, okay?
That's right.
And so that's why, like, I'm not transparent like Alexis. I'm just not that way. So, like, you know, when I remember, like, we were moving away for the first time, and my friend was, like, asking me all these questions about why we were moving. And, you know, she was my friend and all, but still, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm just not that person who's gonna tell you everything about my life, you know? And so, you know, even with that, like, I felt like, you know, you can have those friends that are gonna be like, oh, what are you going through, all this other stuff, and then behind your back they're going to tell everybody else what you're going through, and that's not cool. And so, like, if you're going through stuff, you know, sometimes you have to, you know, keep it to yourself and tell people who aren't going to, you know, turn around and tell everybody else. And so it's important that, you know, sometimes you just keep those things to yourself, and, you know, not everybody needs to know what you're going through, because not everybody is for you.
Absolutely. And the third point, you guys, is my very favorite point of the story, and this is the way the story ends. The story ends after Samson's is...
Hi, Felipe. Welcome, Brazil.
Welcome, Brazil. Thank you for sharing, guys. Everyone that's shared, please put share in the comments so we can give you a shout out. So this is the way the story ends. The story ends is like this. Okay, so after, you know, they cut his hair, he loses his strength, they take out his eyes, he's sitting in prison, they called him, they're now having a banquet. They're so happy because they feel like their God delivered, you know, them out of the hands of Samson. And they called him out to entertain him, the Bible says. And so he comes out, and he can't see, so a little kid is holding his hand, and he asks the little kid to just put him on the pillar. Let him lean on the pillar. Watch this. This is good. And as he's leaning on the pillar, he looks up to God, and he says, God, do it one more time. Do it one more time for me, God. Give me my strength back one more time so I can revenge for what these Philistines did to me. And guys, can I tell you, you can ask God to do the same thing, no matter what you've done in your life, no matter what you've been through, no matter who you've hurt, no matter, you know, what sins you've committed. You can ask God to deliver you one more time.
Yeah.
Has anybody asked God to deliver them one more time? Me. Okay?
Right.
Seriously. I've asked for forgiveness. I've asked for deliverance several times. And I can tell you, the God that created the heavens and the earth, your God that created you, he loves you so much, he will do it for you again. And again, and again, and again. That's what Samson did. Samson knew he messed up. Samson knew he wasn't right. Samson knew that he had made a mistake. He knew he had lost his strength. But even though his strength was in his hair, God is bigger than that.
Right.
You understand what I'm telling you? It was just a symbol of obedience that God gave him, and he told his mom. But God is bigger than the hair. You understand?
Right.
So when Samson looked up and he said, God, do it for me one more time, God said, okay, I will. I will. And the Bible says when Samson reached out, he put his hand to the left and put his hand to the right. He pushed out those pillars, you guys. The Bible said he killed more Philistines that one incident than he did his whole entire life.
Yeah.
So what can you ask God to do for you one more time today? Where are you at right now in your life where you feel like, you know what, I've done so much. I've made so many mistakes, but God, can you do it one more time? Can you set me free one more time? Can you deliver me? Hey, glory. Can you deliver me out of that situation one more time? Okay? And that is so powerful. That story really blesses me because it just shows you a story of redemption. Yeah, I messed up. Yes, I have a gift. Yes, I have weaknesses. Yes, I made mistakes. But in the end of the day, I win. And that's what you have to understand. At the end of the day, you win. And Samson was able to be up in a place in his life where, you know what? I made a mistake. I messed up, but I still came out of it winning, and I basically got revenge for what had happened to me.
Right.
Yeah, and at the very end of the story, Samson, he went to heaven.
Right.
He went to be with the angels and all this other stuff, and so you can imagine you can go through everything and you can make mistakes,
right.
And his biggest mistake was trusting that lady.
Right.
And so that lady, you would think that he would have caught on, that she was trying to take away his she was trying to take away his strength. You think he would have caught on because he kept lying to her and he kept telling her all these different things.
She
And
kept
each time she did,
right.
Those
and
things to try to take it away.
Right.
Yeah, and you think he would have caught on and been like, oh, she's not right. But no, that was his mistake. He was too caught up. And so, sometimes, you make mistakes and sometimes, you do those things foolishly.
Right.
But at least you can know that, you'll always have God on your side.
That's
that
right.
He's always going to be a rock.
That's
and
right.
so even if you do make those mistakes and even if you do trip up and, you foolishly run through life, you can know that God's going to catch you. He's going to pick you up and he's always going to be there as long as you ask for forgiveness
right.
and you're vulnerable with God.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And so the part of this that I like a lot is that when my mom said Samson killed more people in that one moment than he did his entire life, right? So if you're feeling in a place oh my gosh, I'm so messed up right now, but you have no idea the impact that you could leave.
Wow.
After you receive that help from God one
So
more time,
good.
right? You have no idea how life transforming your life could be if you really accept the last chance that you need, right?
Yeah.
You never know what your life could be like on the other side.
So
if
good.
you understand that, hey, I'm at a low point right now, but this could be just the beginning.
Right.
Right?
Good.
This could be just the beginning. Imagine if Samson would have lived, right? He could have dominated and crushed everyone, right? But imagine your lowest point could be the beginning point of your life.
Let's go. That's
Right?
so good.
So that's the biggest thing.
And I think that's such a great point. Hey, and Tully, that's it, right?
Nolly?
And
No,
I see.
Nully. You say Nully.
Yeah.
Sorry if you butchered your name. And that's such a great point. A lot of us, we quit at our lowest point.
Right.
We quit at our lowest point. And I think about the guy that killed himself when he got, I think the verdict came in and he was found guilty and he killed himself. But and then I was literally in my kitchen yesterday and I was thinking wow, imagine if he would have took his sentence. Yes, I did it. Just like Samson did. He knew he messed up, but he took that bad situation and turned into good. Imagine if that guy would have said, you know what, I'm guilty, but what can I do in this prison? Like, who
Right.
can I encourage in this prison? Like, what book can I write to encourage someone else?
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't allow that mistake that you made, even if you found guilty, to take that. You take that one isolated situation in your life and allow that situation to destroy your life. Whether it was a bad marriage, you know, and then, you know, you allow that one bad marriage to keep you from falling in love again, right? Whether if that's that child that hurt you, now you feel like, you know, all your kids are going to turn out to be terrible. You know, so don't allow that one isolated situation to destroy your whole entire life. But, you know, just like Alexis said, allow that point to be the beginning of something great.
Yeah. You pronounced it well.
Yay.
Awesome. Oh, we have to welcome Obed. He's on for the first time. So
Welcome,
hi.
Obed. Welcome. You guys, thank you so much. That's the message we have for you today, and how you just cannot be vulnerable with everybody. The first person you should be vulnerable with is with your Creator.
Right.
You know, before you run and tell anybody, run and tell Him. Okay, that's the best advice. If you don't take anything from this at all, make sure you're vulnerable with the one that loves you unconditionally first, and then find you 2 or 3 people to be vulnerable with. But you cannot be vulnerable with everyone. Be careful where you lay your head in. Okay, whose lap you lay your head in. So that's all we have for you guys. And until next time, as we love to say,
Be great.
be awesome, and do you every single day. Bye-bye.
Bye.